Hi, today we're going to talk about getting ready to use utensils and developmental feeding skills. First, I wanted to start with positioning a person at the table. When positioning your child at the table, you want their hips at a 90-degree angle. And Abatha's are not quite 90, so we're going to set her up a little bit and put a rolled towel behind her so her hips can be at a 90-degree angle. Her legs are just a little bit more than shoulder width apart, and her feet can touch the solid surface. She's touching the floor, but on a smaller child, we could use a box or a high chair or a booster seat to get these proportions. Her elbows should rest at the table and be comfortable. The table height should come so that her elbows can be at a 90-degree angle, and she's ready to eat. If Abatha had trouble with trunk support, we could use some different things to help position her. We could put towels on the side of a chair that has arms, and we could also use a feeding chair's security belt system to help keep her secure and supported in the chair. This week in our handout, there's a neurotypical feeding development schedule. It shows that at 9 months old, an infant will try to hold the bottle or cup, and also can start to hold and chew on biscuits. At 12 months old, a child starts to pick up small crumbs, raisins with a pincer grasp, and they also can hold a spoon but cannot feed themselves yet. At 15 months, a neurotypical child holds a spoon, brings it to the mouth, and looks, but usually cannot prevent it from tipping over. At 18 months, they hold the spoon and get the food safely to the mouth, and they chew well. At 2 years old, a child can spoon feed without spilling and chews completely. At 2.5, a child eats skillfully with a spoon and may start to use a fork. At 3 years old, a child is independent with a fork and a spoon. 4 years old, a child eats skillfully with a fork and spoon, and by 5 years old, a child uses a fork competently and begins using a knife to cut. It may still need help using them together. Hi, the next phase of our feeding ready, utensil ready video is to talk about how we hold utensils and how we help to facilitate the child's grasp and using of the utensils. First, I have my spoon. This is a proper spoon grasp. Your thumb is on the top, the pointer finger right underneath, and the rest of your fingers are tucked under. When you first give a child a spoon, most likely they'll use a fisted grasp. And as they develop, they'll move on to a more mature grasp, like this. Between about 9 months and 3 years old, it's pretty normal to see a child use a fisted grasp, and you want to help them to develop that more mature grasp on the spoon later on by just giving them a lot of opportunities to use a spoon, and when you're having them use a spoon, helping them to place their fingers. What I like to do when we're teaching scooping is use a transfer method. So we're going to scoop from one bowl to another bowl. Scooping is kind of the second phase of using a spoon. If my child was having a hard time scooping from the one bowl to the other bowl, I could support them at their wrist with my hand on their wrist and help them move the food from one side to the other. Or I can support at the elbow and help them move. The first phase would be using a dippable food like applesauce, yogurt, pudding. And a dippable food doesn't require scooping. If I stick my spoon into this food, it's going to stick. Also, refried beans is a good dippable food. So I stick my spoon in there and it's stuck on. So that way the child can get it to their mouth without it dropping. And there's a lot less frustration. That's their first step of eating. And the next step would be scooping foods like Cheerios. When I'm practicing with a child on scooping foods, I like to use something that will be easily digested if they eat it. That way, there's no problems. The last phase is using a fork. And along with the spoon, the proper grasp for a fork is thumb on top of pointer finger, other fingers curled under. Have the child stab the cheese and either eat it or move it to another spot on the plate. I like to use soft foods like cheese, cut up hot dogs. Pieces of chicken are good too if the child is chewing well. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this phase of your child's development with learning to use utensils.